companies is accused of selling sensitive technology to China, which China allegedly used to make a weapon. We'll take a closer look tonight at the college admissions process, consultants for all concerned, and what's to be done about Venice, the Americans who say it is sinking faster than Venetians know.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We're going to begin at the Pentagon tonight. For the first time, the country's military command has said it cannot rule out a connection between what has come to be called Gulf War Syndrome and a vaccine given to U.S. servicemen and women before they went to serve in the Gulf in the war against Iraq. More than 100,000 Gulf War veterans have reported that they got ill while they were in the Gulf or after they came home, and many have complained they didn't get a serious hearing. ABC's John McWethy reports tonight on a study by the RAND Corporation, paid for by the Pentagon and made public today.
The drug was given to 250,000 U.S. troops to protect them from one type of nerve gas believed to be in Iraq's arsenal. The drug is called PB, or pyridostigmine bromide. After the war, when tens of thousands of soldiers got sick, some of them, including Brian Martin, immediately suspected PB.
My health problem started the eve of the air war when we started taking the pyridostigmine bromide pills. Into my 8th pill, I started getting really ill.
But the Independent Institute of Medicine and a Presidential Advisory Commission all but ruled out PB as a potential cause, partly because soldiers who had not taken the drug were also sick. So were some of their families. But today's study raises new questions about the safety of PB. Dr. Beatrice Golomb was author of the study.
We can't rule out pyridostigmine bromide as a contributor to health symptoms in ill Gulf War veterans.
Golomb's 385-page review raised discomforting questions about whether PB might have been absorbed in much higher concentrations because of stress and might have had a permanent impact on the nervous system and brain chemistry of some people. Critics in Congress say to them, the new Pentagon report is not a surprise.
The newness is that now DOD is forced to accept what many soldiers and doctors knew a long time ago.
At a time when the Pentagon is ordering all its troops to take shots to protect them from another threat, anthrax, and some are refusing because of what happened in the Gulf, these latest questions about PB are not expected to help. John McWethy, ABC News, the Pentagon.
The Justice Department announced today that McDonnell Douglas, the aircraft maker, has been indicted for selling technology illegally to China. And a Chinese import company was also charged. McDonnell Douglas, now owned by Boeing, sold equipment to China for commercial use. But the equipment was diverted to a missile factory, and government lawyers here say the company knew that it would happen. Here's ABC's Bob Woodruff.
The story behind today's indictments begins in 1993. As part of a joint venture to build jets in China, McDonnell Douglas agreed to sell sophisticated machine tools from this Ohio factory to a Chinese company in Beijing. Those tools had been used to manufacture the U.S. B-1 bomber and MX missile, and the deal required U.S. government approval. The Commerce Secretary at the time, Ron Brown, said the Chinese had promised that the equipment would be used only to build commercial planes. But within months, the tools were diverted to a military plant where the Chinese were building Silkworm missiles.
Even before the equipment left U.S. soil, the evidence indicates that both firms knew it was military bound.
Executives at McDonnell Douglas, which is now owned by Boeing, say they did not know, and that they informed the U.S. government as soon as they learned of the problem.
We think it's a circumstantial evidence case that cannot be proven at all, and that no one did, in fact, have any criminal intent or do any criminal violations of the law.
Some arms control experts believe the U.S. government approved the sale only because it was interested in doing business with China, no matter what the cost.
This is a case that should never have happened, and after it did happen, it should have been prosecuted promptly. And the fact that it hasn't been shows you that the administration still doesn't want to hear bad things about China.
Customs officials tell ABC News they're now conducting several other major investigations involving illegal exports to China. More potential trouble in the tangled world of commerce, technology, and U.S.-China relations. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, Washington.
The subject of selling U.S. technology overseas is a sensitive one. The Republican presidential candidate George Bush said yesterday that he supports loosening some laws for selling sensitive technology overseas. He says, as do others, if the technology can be bought elsewhere, why not let American companies sell it as well? On the money tonight, the Consumer Price Index, the broadest measure of inflation, was up 0.4% last month. That's important news for millions of people who get Social Security or whose salaries are tied to inflation. It means the cost of living increase for next year will be adjusted up, and the average Social Security recipient will get about $19 more, nearly double last year's increase. Investors on Wall Street were encouraged by the inflation report. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 88 points to close at 10,204. On the NASDAQ, stocks were down just under a point. Incidentally, two famous brands made their debut on the stock exchange today. Shares of Martha Stewart Living and the World Wrestling Federation each had a good first day. When we come back, hard feelings in Washington about the budget and what is to be done about Venice, so long assaulted by the sea.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by the new Impala by Chevrolet.
5 things to consider about the Chevy Impala. It's new. It starts under $20,000. It's designed, engineered, and built to be carefree. It's at your Chevy dealer now. It's received the highest frontal crash rating possible. 5 stars from the federal government. The new Chevy Impala. As USA Today put it, it's a lot more car than you imagine, at a lower price than you expect. The new Chevy Impala.
Let's go for a drive.
Our latest innovation springs from a very old idea that heat cleans better. And so, Bissell introduces the only upright deep cleaner with an onboard heater. The new Power Steamer Pro Heat Plus from Bissell. Life's messy. Clean it up.
6 months ago, I wouldn't have considered doing this. Today, it's a different story.
Introducing PharmaSure Joint Formula. Scientifically formulated with ingredients that help rebuild and renew existing knee and hip cartilage.
99, 100. Phew, we made it.
Grandma, where's Bunny?
Oh, you're kidding.
PharmaSure, inspired by life, created by science. Only at GNC, Rite Aid, and Drugstore.com.
The White House and the Republican leadership in Washington have been slinging barbs at each other today, even before meeting about the budget. At the White House tonight, the White House called on Republicans to put aside their attack ads. Republicans said there are not be any backdoor deals. It's hardly friendly. Here's ABC's John Cochran.
It's hard to have high hopes for a budget meeting when President Clinton believes Republicans are trying to undermine what is left of his presidency. And when Senate Republican leader Trent Lott accuses the president of trying to set up Republicans for another fall. Republicans know that in past budget fights, they were the ones who got bloody noses.
If this is a scheme just to lead to a process that will spend Social Security and raise taxes, I'll be home early for dinner.
It's no wonder people outside Washington see budget battles as little more than a political game. But there are some honest philosophical differences of opinion, especially on education.
We're trying to put 100,000 teachers in our classrooms for smaller classes.
Republicans say local school districts should decide whether to use the money for teachers or some other need.
Do we give local control back to the parents and the local school boards? That's where we have the real strong differences.
And even when the two sides agree on something, it's difficult for them to cooperate. Take defense spending. Republicans say the Pentagon, especially after the war in Kosovo, needs another $17 billion. Defense is a Republican issue, and President Clinton does not want to look weak on national security. So he will accept a big increase.
And that means less money for other programs. And the budget squeeze is even tighter now that both sides say they do not want to spend the Social Security surplus to balance the budget. Peter?
John Cochran at the White House. Politics, as we all know, is just complete with inflammatory hot-button issues. Nothing quite like Social Security, though. ABC's John Martin tonight tries to reach beyond the rhetoric.
For God's sake, let's take care of Social Security. Let's talk about how we save Social Security.
Let us put Social Security first.
That may sound familiar because they make TV commercials on the subject.
The Democrats in the president's budget plans could raid Social Security and spend our retirement money on more big government programs.
This debate started in earnest last year when the president, opposing a Republican tax cut, invoked Social Security and played on the fears of people about losing their benefits.
Save Social Security first.
But despite what both parties are claiming, there was never any chance that payments to current beneficiaries would be cut. In fact, for more than 15 years, the Social Security system has been running at a surplus, and the federal government has borrowed that money from Social Security to balance the budget. Because the Treasury is required by law to give back that money, Social Security was not jeopardized.
It's bogus. It borders on political demagoguery.
Robert Bixby runs a nonpartisan budget watchdog group.
Any sort of political rhetoric about how we're raiding the trust fund, we're taking money out of the pockets of beneficiaries is totally inaccurate.
Stanley Collender advises businesses on the federal budget.
It's each party trying to point a finger at the other and saying we're more protective of Social Security and therefore you should look at us as the protector.
But now, by swearing not to touch the Social Security surplus, as they have so often in the past, both parties are faced with a problem. Either fund everything they want to do with available revenues or raise taxes to do it. John Martin, ABC News, Washington.
Just one last hot-button issue for the day. In the Senate, campaign finance reform appears to be dead once again. Supporters of a ban on unlimited contributions to political parties, so-called soft money, did not have the votes to break a Republican-led filibuster. In a moment, looking for an edge in the college admissions game. We'll take a closer look.
So what'll happen to all this now that you're going virtual?
We're not going virtual.
I read you're getting into internet trading, online cash management.
Well, we are.
Yeah, the end of an era.
Not at all. Online trading and the rest of it are simply new tools we're making available.
You don't have to sugarcoat it for me, but I must tell you, I'm going to miss our little chats.
Nelson, I'm not going away. The office isn't going away.
The coffee? The ticker?
Not going away.
What about the little bull?
Not going away.
Good.
Now our first denture cleanser keeps dentures feeling clean all day. New Fix-It-Ent with ProGuard, a breakthrough tablet and bath system. First, place your dentures into the bath and release the power of ProGuard to get them 4 times cleaner. Then you lift the inner basket to help seal in the clean with the ProGuard barrier, protecting against plaque and odor-causing bacteria from morning till night. Fix-It-Ent with ProGuard. Start cleaner, stay cleaner.
Right now at LensCrafters, you can get a complete pair of great-looking glasses for only $99 in your choice of hundreds of the latest styles.
The LensCrafters $99 complete pair sale.
Only $99. You can't afford to miss an offer like this.
Hurry, offer ends soon.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
Boogie Woogie, Brummelin' Brown, creamy, dreamy Brummelin' Brown. It's got yogurt blended right in with the creamy taste of butter. You'll try again.
The goodness of yogurt, the creamy taste of butter with half the fat and calories. Must be Brummelin' Brown.
If it's real chicken your dog wants, it's Prime you want. Because high-quality chicken is the primary ingredient in Pedigree Prime.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at the college admissions game. It is very much that time of year. High school students and their parents focused on where the student wants to go and where they might get in. Colleges and universities beginning to get more students checking them out. Some of those students they would very much like to recruit. Almost 2 million high school students will apply to college this year. That is more than ever before, which means the competition is greater than ever before, especially at the more famous and the prestigious schools, which is why, inevitably, there are consultants. First, the student consultant. Here's ABC's Michelle Norris.
You would not think a student like David Goldberg would have trouble getting into the college of his choice. He's an honor student, part-time web designer, and magazine editor.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I understand.
He's a student with an almost perfect SAT score, but that might not be enough.
23 years ago, when the baby boom hit its peak,
50% of high school grads went on to college. Today, that figure is 67%.
Which means even for students like David, there's more competition than ever to get into top colleges. So he's turning to Shirley Levin for help.
I know that if I didn't have Shirley, I wouldn't have anything done in time.
Levin is a college consultant, and her mission, helping applicants stand out from the crowd.
It's very important if you want to get into this ball game to know what the rules are. And that's what I help the student do. It was 403 words. Perfect. What'd you do, word count on it?
College consulting is not new. Wealthy families have used them for years. But now families at all income levels are paying thousands for advice, especially because there are not enough school guidance counselors. As a result, business is booming all across the country.
I think we're getting to be like Starbucks. We're almost on every street corner.
They do everything from coach students on what to say,
that I would start with the most recent stuff and work your way backwards,
to how to look.
I tell them, don't wear sneakers and don't wear ripped clothes and wear shirts with collars, you know, because you want to look nice, but you don't want to look like you're going off to the opera either.
This is Healy Hall, one of the more famous buildings on campus.
Some colleges are worried about this trend.
The commercialization of the application process is probably not a great thing for families across the country.
Have you sent the SAT scores?
Yeah, I sent those, and
The worry is that students might be tempted to focus more on packaging than performance. Michelle Norris, ABC News, Bethesda, Maryland.
Well, there's all about finding an edge, as you can probably tell. Students trying to get in where they want to get in and not having to settle for their safety school. What's a little different these days is that schools are doing much the same thing. ABC's Rebecca Chase tonight on the college consultant who works for the school.
Every year, 80,000 high school students show an interest in attending Baylor University. Several thousand tour the campus.
And it was actually the largest dormitory in the nation when it was built.
In the past, when the tour was over and the applications filed, schools could simply hope they would attract the students they wanted. Not anymore.
While most universities sort of believe that everyone wants to go there, the truth is students have a lot of choices.
That is why so many schools, including Baylor, are using consultants to more effectively identify and recruit the kind of students the university wants. Baylor's consultants developed a computer model to predict which of the 80,000 interested students have what the school is looking for, from specific backgrounds to ability to pay. The consultants narrowed the list of best prospects down to a manageable 8,000.
Higher education understands that they do operate as a business. They have to be efficient as well as effective.
To help Baylor more effectively reach its best prospects, the consultants redesigned the school's publications. Instead of the one-size-fits-all brochure, now there are a dozen brochures to target specific students.
I got mail every single week. It would just be piles and piles of Baylor mail.
It was almost like a joke in my house. My dad would be like, oh, something else in Baylor.
Letters are followed up with a sophisticated form of telemarketing.
Tara, this is Shannon. I'm a student calling from Baylor University.
Student counselors using specialized software keep track of their prospects. And every conversation, while it seems to be just a friendly call,
I took Latin in high school too,
is part of a carefully designed strategy to help recruit.
They showed a lot more interest and made me feel like they wanted me here, like compared to some of the other schools.
These new marketing practices have paid off. Enrollment here at Baylor is up 22%. That additional tuition has given Baylor another $8 million to improve the school. Not everyone is comfortable treating university enrollment like a business, but school officials say that is what it takes to survive in today's highly competitive marketplace of higher education. Rebecca Chase, ABC News, Waco, Texas.
When we come back, definitely not about college. Americans trying to end the slave trade.
Be afraid, potato chips. Be very afraid.
Introducing Quaker Crispy Minis. Light and crispy with a flavor so intense, you won't believe they're oven-baked. So let the mouth-watering begin. New Quaker Crispy Minis Rice Snacks. the rice snack that eats like a chip. Try new barbecue and sour cream and onion flavors.
A lot of people have allergies. I have multi-symptom nasal allergies. It's the sneezing, itchy, runny nose, the nasal congestion. It's all of it. I told my doctor, I've had it. I want an allergy medicine made for my kind of allergies. He prescribed multi-symptom Flonase.
Flonase nasal spray once a day relieves all nasal allergy symptoms all day and night.
All it takes is Flonase.
The #1 prescribed nasal allergy spray. Even kids as young as 4 can use Flonase. For best results, use daily. If side effects occur, they are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, or sore throat. Call to learn more. Ask your doctor about multi-symptom Flonase.
When you get it all it takes is Flonase.
I'm too sexy. I'm too sexy. I'm too sexy for the drive-thru. And I'm too sexy for my car seat. Too sexy for the groceries. Too sexy for the dry cleaning. Introducing the newly updated Camry. So stylish it could go to your head. I'm too sexy for the slow lane. Too sexy for the neighbors. Too sexy for the car wash. Too sexy.
This job's killing me. I've got to start thinking about the future. Thinking long term. And there's the kids' college. They need good health care. And then there's my retirement. Yeah, I got to start thinking about this stuff for more than 2 minutes at a time.
Your health, your finances, your future. Aetna, for what matters most.
The Secretary of State Madeleine Albright was in Nigeria today to show American support for democracy. Mrs. Albright is on a tour of 6 African nations. The United States is regularly criticized for not paying as much attention to Africa as it does, for example, to Europe. But one country in Africa has recently captured the attention of many Americans. The country is the Sudan. The problem is slavery, and the solution is controversial. Here's ABC's Bill Rediker.
It is a compelling human rights crusade.
100,000, 200,000.
For only $50, a Sudanese woman or child is set free, redeemed from slavery by people who call themselves modern-day abolitionists.
We've taken 11,000 women and children out of bondage, and we know of no one who wouldn't, for $50 or $100, have us rescue his wife or daughter out of the hands of monsters.
The idea is so appealing that school children in Colorado have raised $50,000. Overall, churches and other organizations have collected more than $5 million to buy back thousands of people from slave traders who capture and sell humans to finance their side of an intractable civil war.
Let me tell you something. If I was a slave, I would want somebody to buy my freedom.
It is difficult to argue against that. But increasingly, some of the world's most influential human rights organizations are quietly saying that the movement may be backfiring and actually encouraging the slave trade.
While the practice of redemption has been very useful in calling attention to the problem, it has now become a business.
On a recent visit to Sudan, Human Rights Watch found indications that some of these people were not slaves at all, but poor children taken expressly for a quick sale.
Now they're doing redemptions that are very massive in scale, 1,000 or 2,000 people at one time. And so there is a concern that it's becoming a business and that some of the people who are being redeemed are not actually even enslaved.
Coming up with evidence is difficult. Slave traders do not keep records, and the government of Sudan insists slavery does not exist.
You are all free now. And
Relief groups that operate in Sudan are divided, but those who oppose the program are reluctant to say so publicly because it is simply not popular to oppose something that sounds so right. Bill Rediker, ABC News, New York.
When we come back, our last item on World News Tonight, will the world see the end of Venice?
For 98 years, GMC has designed trucks for people who drove them not because they were trendy, but because their lives depended on them. Heroes who measured a truck by its power and its determination. That heritage lives in the Yukon Denali, a luxury SUV with a 255 horsepower V8. It meets the demands of professionals and the standards of history. the Yukon Denali by GMC.
Got heartburn caused by acid reflux? Only Gaviscon forms a soothing protective barrier that keeps acid down. Pepcid AC and Zantac 75 can't do that. Gaviscon, it helps keep acid down where it belongs.
No one wants to see their cat suffer from hairballs. That's why Hill's introduces new Science Diet Hairball Control Formula, the only cat food with natural vegetable fiber to help control hairballs. Science Diet, what vets feed their pets.
I'm not really close to Anna Kournikova. First of all, there's that whole language thing.
A PE ratio is price divided by earnings.
Earnings per share is a company's net income minus preferred dividends.
It's like she's speaking a different language.
Can anyone say asset allocation? Mid cap, small cap.
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm,
growth fund,
we created a smarter kind of investor.
Besides, some of the other players are kind of jealous of her, portfolio.
ABC Tonight.
Dad, are we never going to be a family again?
For two single parents, the hardest thing about starting over.
He wants you to get back together?
Is letting go. Seal Award and Billy Campbell in ABC's Once and Again tonight.
Coming up next on Channel 2 News, a brand new traffic law starting this weekend means you could get more tickets. Plus, a magazine says the most dangerous volcano in the nation is right in our own backyard, and it's not St. Helens. I'm Steve Dunn. Local news is next.
Finally this evening, the never-ending saga of the sinking city. It is one of the great cities of the world. It used to be an empire, and ever since the beginning, the sea, which gives Venice its character, has also been a threat to its ultimate existence. The headline, "Venice is sinking," is an old one, but now it reads, "Venice is sinking twice as fast as they thought." An American team from Colgate University has just finished a study which says that Venice is sinking by 10 inches a century. Even now, it doesn't take much rain to see what the future holds. Venetians have dredged their canals and built gates to keep the sea back. The current plan is to circle the entire lagoon with enormous inflatable barriers. The American geologists say it won't be enough. Once again, Italians are debating what else they can do. Debating what else they can do. And that is our report on World News Tonight. Later this evening on Nightline, the future of stock trading. What happens if the trading floor, gives way altogether to the computer? I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow. Good night.
Tomorrow from ABC News on Good Morning America, a mother's struggle with Alzheimer's and her family's inspiring love and support, a video diary and series you won't soon forget. And on World News Tonight, how did these men who the government called the world's richest drug dealers get so much cocaine into the U.S.? On World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings than from any other nightly news.
This is KATU, the power of 2000. Now, Channel 2 News.
Starting this weekend, it will be legal to use photo radar to catch red light runners. But drivers might not see those cameras on the road for a while. Good evening, I'm Paul Inman. And I'm Steve Dunn. Thanks for joining us tonight. It is already being used to catch drivers who